bringing the indigenous practices back in this time period and sharing them with people who really need those is really fantastic. We're a cyclical people, and so there were certain times that we lived certain places, that we did certain things that were in balance with the earth. We lived here for thousands and thousands of years on those practices, so it will be good for people to know those practices.
Paquanogzian and Tongwazid, Nimaizo Kikanek. Welcome to the garden. So
Thank
this
you.
is Community Roots Garden in Richmond, Virginia, North Side, and it was started by my elder, Vanessa Bolin from the Richmond Indigenous Society. And we have a lot of different cultivars that you wouldn't normally see, and we do that purposely to be able to teach people in this area about what we do and growing methods that might not be so common in the average American garden.
Absolutely. And a question I have is your corn, you've got this wonderful combination. A, it's so tall, but B, the way it's growing is so uncommon to our typical row gardening. So tell me about that.
Yes, so these are Eastern Three Sisters garden mounds. We've got corn acting as the trellis for the beans, the pole beans, and we've got cucumbers and squash kind of shading out the weeds. And it works really well. The beans fix the nitrogen for the corn. They all work in concert with each other. So it's a great low input gardening method.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how much nitrogen corn requires to really grow well.
Yes, and it's so important for us to be able to use natural methods as well. There's enough things in the environment that we don't need. So this is great, and it's great for children to be around because it's safe. There's no chemicals sprayed in here.
There's so many vegetables here that are common, but so many of our Native American Indians, grew these vegetables as well. And
Yes.
we don't think about that.
Green beans that we all love on our Thanksgiving table are native to North America and didn't enter the European diet until the 1500s.
Wow, that's interesting. And as well as corn.
Yes.
Well, I think we taught that in school.
75% of our plate actually is native to North and South America for an average American diet.
Yes, because people don't realize where tomatoes come from.
Yeah. Or potatoes aren't Irish.
Yes.
I do love a good mashed potato though.
Yum. But I'm able to take this produce and you share it.
Yes, everything is given freely to the neighborhood. We're in North Side. We've got several community gardens all over Richmond and some satellite farms farther flung around the state. We provide all of their plants and seeds free of charge to anyone that wants to grow for mutual aid or for self-sufficiency.
Do they kind of look at you when you bring up like a unique squash and you're showing them a green and yellow squash and they kind of go, this is nice, what is it?
I ran into that a lot, especially with, we feed a lot of different groups, like some of our Central American families. They are very, very creative and will cook with just about anything. And then some of our Caucasian families get a little bit worried about, say, something that doesn't look like what it comes out in the grocery store. So we've been trying to work towards making little recipe cards for heirloom vegetables. One of my favorite things to grow is Blauerspecht kohlrabi, but no one ever has any idea what to do with it. I love it and it's delicious, and that makes me sad because there's a huge bounty of cultivars that are not common to our grocery stores that we have been deprived of, that our grandparents proudly preserved for us.
Yes, yes. And has gone back for generations doing so.
Yes, no matter where we come from, none of us have to go back that many generations to find a farmer in the family, really.
Truly, truly. Horticulturally, what are your practices? Are you using just compost? Are you bringing in fertilizers? How are you keeping this sustainable all season long?
Everything is tailored to wherever we're growing. Some gardens are actually just raised beds in little community plots or parks. This started with cardboard to keep the weeds out after the kudzu was eradicated,
Right.
which was a feat in and of itself. And then it just kind of evolved and grows. The garden knows what it needs to do.
Yes. And so you were able to, to follow the seasonality by planting your spring crop into your summer crop and into the fall crop.
Yes, and right now we're saving seeds or sorting and cleaning seeds from last year, and they will be distributed and planted in all of our gardens. I don't like to plant in July. August is when I start putting in a little bit here and there for the winter garden. So we'll have this completely covered in different crops in a few months.
That's great. I think so many people get to July and into August and they just throw up their hands and say, I've had enough. But
Yes.
what they need to realize, it's the beginning of the next chapter, the fall garden, and
Yes.
to embrace it. And a lot of our Native Americans did that without just having to be told.
Yeah, so we have millennia of experience on this continent, and if you really know how to read the land, She'll provide for you all year round. I'm regularly picking turnips and lettuce in December and January. And then come January, I have a woodlot I manage, and we turn that into a forest garden and tap maple trees, hickory nut, and walnut trees to make syrup.
But speaking of delicious things, there's more down at the other end. You want to go take a
Yeah,
look?
let's go.
All right.
And at this end of the garden, we have our pepper plants
Uh-huh.
and some melons,
Uh-huh.
and there's some marigolds for pest control.
Excellent. But I also see along the way you picked up some very interesting, fruit and what I would consider a weed. So what do we have here?
So this is a Mong cucumber, and it hails from Vietnam,
Okay.
and they're absolutely delicious and really great for making pickles. And
But what about that weed in your hand there?
so this is actually goosefoot, and
Uh-huh.
this was a staple of our diet for millennia throughout most of Native North America before colonization. It's absolutely delicious. How
What parts of
adventurous
it do you eat?
You can eat the whole plant. How adventurous are you feeling
Oh,
today?
very, very.
Tastes a little bit like asparagus on the stem.
Mhm.
You can make greens out of it. You
Ooh,
can
It's tasty.
dry the leaves, make like kale chips, or cook them
Ooh.
down like greens.
You're making me hungry. All of this here is very, very impressive, knowing that what's behind me is how it started with all of this kudzu and this brush back here.
Yeah.
So it must have taken the community.
The community reclaimed this land themselves, and it was the work of a lot of determined people to really bring this to be tamed.
But this has become a labor of love.
It is,
And
yes.
I can see where the community, is benefiting in so many ways. So please share with me how this garden has knitted the community together.
So we have volunteer days here, and there are people from all walks of life, all colors, creeds, and all ages together as well. And I think that intergenerational gardening and learning together is really, really
Oh,
important.
it's so important.
And all of the food here is donated free of charge within the community to whoever needs it. We stock the community fridges, and a lot of it is distributed to the elders in this neighborhood.
That's fantastic. Amy, earlier you shared with me an analogy about the garden and its progression through the seasons. Can you share it with us?
Yes, I can't speak for every Native community because we all have different cultures and customs and stories. But it's said that in the springtime, the earth is pregnant and to tread lightly on her.
Mm-hmm.
In the late spring and early summer, the garden is an infant that we need to take care of and nurture. And then in the summer harvest and fall, the garden is our grandmother that provides for us and feeds us, gives us everything we need.
Thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you. We really enjoyed having you at Community Roots.
She's doing a garden for us at the Rappahannock Tribe. It's an opportunity to pass on these traditions to the young people. And so now we're taking our children back to those traditional ways and teaching them about their medicinals and their food sources that are healthy for them so that they can pass it on for the generations to come.